with the other one that I am looking at, I have gotten some papers together for it, okay? And these are just random papers that I happen to have because I'm a crafter and I keep a stash of different kinds of papers and stuff like that. I'm a complete addict when it comes to any kind of stationery, so I have quite a bit. Not a huge amount, but you know, enough to keep me going for a couple of years. And I just, all shapes, all sizes, everything, they're all different. It doesn't matter. If you've got it hanging around, use it. Another thing that I tend to use, I have some over here, is junk mail that comes in the letterbox. That can so totally belong to a book. You know, just add it in there like that. Now this bundle of paper where they're all folded into pages, it's called a signature. You'll hear that quite a lot if you're looking up how to make books and things, so that's all it is. It's just the folded papers that you're going to use in one part of the book. And I have all these, you know, junk letters and lots of different sizes and shapes and instructions that came out of things, and this is from the insurance for the car. You know, just random stuff, and the more random it is, I think, for me, the more interesting it tends to come out. So now I could take this part, I could take this set of pages and this set of pages and do 2 signatures, or I could take another lot of pages and make 3 signatures. It's entirely up to yourself. The method is the same all the ways around. As for the cover, what I could use a box like this. This is just off some tea cakes. Open it up, and this would be your spine. You trim off all the other bits that you don't need, and you have your spine ready to go. Open and close. Okay, simple. Cereal boxes, chocolate box. This would make a long way, or a top flip book. You know, biscuit box. To make a smaller book, I would, because this wide, I would probably trim it to about here and make a book that size with that. You can even go smaller again. This is just off some jewellery that I got in a cheapy shop. And again, I would trim it. There would be my spine, open and close flap. That would be my cover. And I like the window on this. I'm actually thinking I will probably use this soon. Make a small book with a window on it. I like that idea. But what I am actually going to use today, I think, is this. No, not that, because it's not. It was this, I think. But you could, yeah, okay, so I had this aside to show you. I want to make something for my goddaughter with this, I think. She loves Spider-Man. So yeah, you could do this and use one signature. You know, that would be your book. Here's your cover. There's your cover. There's all your pages inside. Obviously, you trim it here, and you have to be able to open and close it. So that's another one. But what I'm actually going to use is this. It's just a large, not that large, it's just a flyer that got dropped in the door. Now, because it's just lightweight paper, I am actually going to back it with something. Did I trim this? And I actually trimmed this to the right size as well. Look at that. All prepared piece. So that's the right size. Might trim these pages a little bit more, but I shall see. And you're better to wait until you have your pages folded to trim them to size, because as you fold them over here, they get the edge of each page as it goes into the middle of the booklet, kind of like the middle of the booklet, the page is probably around here, so it's going to stick out a little bit more at this side. So you're better off to wait till you have them at this stage folded and in their signatures in the right place where you want them, and then trim them. Now you can trim them with scissors or whatever. I have a paper trimmer that I use, so I'll get that out there now in a second. In fact, I actually probably won't, because I want to keep these. But I also wanted to show you this, where I used fancy shaped scissors to cut a page. Just another little idea. These are all just notebook pages. Anything goes, you know. I also have some pages from old sketchbooks that I use from time to time as well. Now, because I want to keep these puppies, what I am going to do is I'm going to look at each one and decide which puppies I want to keep. And on this one I'm going to keep this. Or do you know what? I might just fold them in all together. That's what I want to do. I'm just going to fold it all the way in and leave them as flips. Like that. That's what I'm going to do. Rather than trimming off the nice little puppy pictures. You know what this kitten is doing behind me, but she's making an awful noise altogether. Okay, so what do I need here? I'm actually going to find something a bit more sturdy for this. Just bear with me there for one moment. Okay, so what I found was just a piece of an old cereal box that I had obviously cut something out for something else. So I'm going to trim this down to size and I'll be back. Okay, so I have this trimmed pretty much to size. I do have a little bit more trimming to do, but I want to fold it first. Now, because I don't already have a crease in this, I'm going to use my scoring board. You can just run a line down it and fold it. It might be easy to get the back of a butter knife and just put a mark in it where you want to fold it. Just to make it easier to keep it on line. Just get a ruler and a butter knife and away you go. Hello lady. She's sitting on top of my material. Cozy spot if there ever was one, I suppose. Okay, so this is looking good at about 5 inches, but I'm going to give it another 1/4 inch just to be sure. So leave yourself plenty of space around the edges of your pages, right? I have about 1/4 inch top and bottom, and I'm leaving roughly a 1/2 inch between the edge of this page and my crease, so that when I fold it over I will have scope to trim it if I need to, but it won't be too short. So I'm just making a mark basically and I'm going to fold it so they will fit nicely inside. Now these pages are going to actually be folded in, so that's not going to matter at all. So I'll fold these in so you're not distracted by the fact that they're hanging out over the edge. Just going to fold them all in. Now I'm just trying to leave it a little bit back from the crease here so that the page won't get caught when it's folding. Yeah, I think that's good. Good enough. Positioning right here. And we're away. Now, I do have some clips here. Slightly bigger ones. I say slightly bigger ones, they're really only slightly bigger. But, you know, whatever you have will be fine. Now, I'm just going to clip these together here for a moment. Okay, so we have our cover ready to go. We have our pages inside ready to go. And yeah, they're pretty much okay the way I want them to be. Now here I have a set of needles that I got for sewing up knitting projects. And one of them is blunt and the other one is sharp. Okay. I'm actually going to use the blunt one. You can use any normal sewing needle depending on what you're using to bind your book. I'm going to use probably some wool or something, I think. So that's why I'm going to use this needle. Now you can get these in any kind of haberdashery shop or sewing shop or whatever. So that's it's basically a darning needle. So that's that, and the other thing I have is, if I can find it, pokey tool, as I call it. This came in a set with craft knives, but anything pointy will do, anything sharp will do like that. Okay, now what I'm going to do, I'm going to find the middle of our signature. Let's see. That appears to be the middle. Unfortunately, my clips aren't reaching down far enough, so let's dump them and see if we can find another whole alternative. I know I have some large paper clips. Here we go. Okay, so I'm going to put 3 holes through all the papers and the cover as well. Okay, all together. I'm going to go to the middle first, and I'm going to guesstimate this because somebody borrowed my ruler earlier on and never brought it back. I wonder who that could be. Anyway, so I'm going to guesstimate at the middle here. I'm just going to push this through. Now, what you can do for this as well, to make it safer, especially if you're doing this with children, get some sort of a thick book, like a phone book or something. In fact, do I have one? Yes. I have one here. Just open it to the middle and lay this into it, like into the crease, like that. And just push all the way through, and that makes it a bit more safe, you know. There's no chance of catching your fingers. Now I can see that that's not in the middle, but I'm okay with that. Okay, so we have our middle one, and then I'm going to go towards the bottom, same thing, and then I'm going to go towards the top, try and get it the same distance from the middle hole, at least. And there we have our holes for our signature. Now, I'm going to take the cover away. I'm going to clip all these pages together so that they stay in the right position. And the reason I do this first before I do anything else is so that the holes in the paper will correspond correctly with the holes in the cover. If you do them separately, chances are you're going to make some sort of a mistake. What's up, Jelly Bean? What are you doing? She's into mischief down there again on me. Boy, never a dull moment in this house. Okay, so there's our pages safely in position. Now, this away. I am going to cover this, but I'm going to trim it first to the correct. Yeah. So I'm just going to trim it around here. And I'm just marking it. You can mark it with a pencil, but I'm just doing it with this because I have it handy. And I'm going to just cut up the scissors. Now you could leave this on and make it a little flat for the closure, but I'm going to take it off in this instance. Now, unlike the other book that we did, I am going to put some tape down the middle again, but because my big old duct tape decided not to work with me, I'm just going to use some packing tape. Any kind of a strong tape, same as the last one. And I'm just going to wrap it all the ways around, and because I can still see the holes, I'll be able to go right through it, but it'll just give a little bit of stiffness. I'm going to bring that right back around again. Okay. Okay, so this was the very first one that came to my hand. Now, what I'm going to do is I am going to leave a little bit of overlap, like so, and you'll see why in a second. Now, we're going to need to make a crease like we did the last time with the cover. Very same thing. And I'd love to have my steel rule, but I don't, so I'm going to get out my scoreboard again. And I'm going to go by this. So here I can see that, you know, this is the right knot, but I'm going to leave a little bit of overhang like I said, so I'm going to bring it in a little bit. There we go. There we go. Now, for this part, you can use glue, you can use tape and just tape it around the edges. I am going to use double-sided tape. I got this in the local discount store. You don't have to spend a fortune. Yeah. The only thing is, when you're doing it this way, you don't get any second chances. When it's stuck, it's stuck. Whereas with a lot of the glues, like glue sticks and things, you'll have a little bit of wiggle room. So if you're not confident, you can do it with glue, and you'll give yourself some leeway to make mistakes. But to be fair, it's hard enough to make mistakes with this. Yes, they can be made, but it's simple enough. And don't get hung up on it being perfect. And if you do make a mistake, don't get hung up on that either. It's like, it's a junk journal. You're working with junk cardboard box that would have been thrown away, you know. So, it's all good. And like that, I just made a boo-boo by the tape coming over on the top. We'll fix it. It'll be fine. Push that down. And do make sure your tape is kind of pushed down well enough that it's actually stuck to the card or paper or whatever it is you're using. Now you could have actually used, and what I should have done was used a magazine page to cover this. Would have been awesome. But hey ho, I have a little acrobat doing tricks behind me here. Also just going to put a strip across the middle. In fact, what I might do is put some glue in there. And you can also use all your adhesives interchangeably, or sorry, not interchangeably. Well, yeah, that too, but what I meant to say was they can all be used together. Like Jenny Belly, one of a YouTube artist that I watch and adore. She's from England. Hi Jenny, if you ever get to see this. I'm sure someone like yourself would never be watching my videos. But anyway, she uses 3 different types of glues when she's gluing things down. All together. Just to make sure that things get stuck properly the way she wants them and don't come back up. So, you know, if that's something you're worried about, by all means, put several different adhesives down for yourself. I don't think it's completely necessary, especially for something like this. The stuff that we're working is all fairly lightweight, so I don't see it being necessary at all. Now, one little trick I will give you though is, if you're using double-sided tape because you feel that it gives a little bit of strength to the bond, if you want to give yourself some wiggle room with it, just run your glue stick along it as well. And that'll help give it a little bit of extra wiggle room, and you still have the kind of stickiness of the tape underneath as well. So, double glue. So I'm going to lay it on my card, giving myself that little bit of room that I wanted. And I'm going to let the folding of the card dictate where it lands. Now, I didn't think this through very well, did I? Because the eagle-eyed ones out there will have seen that my strip of tape completely missed. So, because I gave myself some wiggle room, I'm going to go back and just put extra glue stick in there. See, that would not have been possible if I hadn't used the glue stick over the tape. So, you know, if there's for and against it. The against, I guess, is that you're using twice the amount of glue. But, you know, glue stick is relatively cheap. So, on to the second side. It's looking pretty okay, I think, is it? Seems to be in it. Let's see how we go. I'm going to have the same problem on this side, I would imagine, with this. It'll catch it a little. It'll catch it enough. I still have to charge her on this side, that's okay. Oh, and we need to put that strip in the middle as well. I can't remember where I found this tape, but I'm glad I found it. There's stuff called score tape, SCOR tape, and it's this narrow, and I was always saying, you know, that'd be very handy, yada yada yada. Can't get it here. Have to order it in, pay for shipping. And then I found that somewhere. I'm sure it was in one of those discount shops. And I picked up a roll of it. See what I actually use it. And you know, I think I actually will. It'll be very handy for cards. Smaller pieces like that. And obviously it's handy here, just fill in so I don't have to go searching for other stuff. Now, on the other journal, you had to keep the cover closed when you were covering the outside of it. With these, you have to leave the cover open before you settle it down flat, because there won't be any wiggle room otherwise. So I'm going to get my I would if I could find it. There we go. There's my scoring here. Again, use the back of a blunt butter knife and just run it down the crease. Lay one side flat, run it down the crease. Lay the other side flat and run it down the crease. And that will just help with flexibility. Okay. Now, so we need to put our holes in our middle paper. Beauty of having the holes already punched and using this tape. So when you get to this stage, do leave the glue dry. You risk the whole thing shifting otherwise. And here we go. Do we have a difference in these? We'll chop the top off anyway first. And I just wanted to leave enough overhang that when we were doing the opening and closing, that it wasn't shifting, that I didn't leave myself short, that I had enough, because I've done it in the past. It's the voice of experience talking. here. Now there is a little bit of a discrepancy between the front and the back cover, but that's okay because when you have the papers in, it won't be quite as noticeable. And if it bothers you, just trim it up square. Okay, so that's looking pretty good. You can also get a craft knife and trim the edges of this. It might actually work better, but I'm happy enough to do it this way. Okay, so the next step for me, if you want to cover it, the next step would be to cover the front of it. I'm not going to, I'm leaving it as is. I'm just going to do some stamping on it maybe, or some painting or something later at a later date. But again, like the other one, you can do whatever takes your fancy. You can stick pictures on it, you can paint on it, you can draw on it, you can do whatever you want. So we're bringing back our pages, and I am going to take my needle and put it through the middle page, the middle hole, sorry, and then find the middle hole here. And look at that. I made a boo-boo. Maybe not. We'll turn it the other way. Ha ha ha. That's because my holes weren't evenly spaced. But anyway. No biggie. There we go. So that's in the right position. So I'm going to get the clips and clip them on there. Just so that the papers don't move on me. Where are they gone? So just on that corner and on this corner, just to keep them there. Now, whatever thread you want to use is fine. You can get waxed linen threads for bookbinding. You can use wool. You can use any random piece of string. You can use a lace, ribbon, whatever you want. I happen to have, in my little box of tricks, some wool that I keep near me just for this purpose. So, cut out. This is by no means my collection of wool, believe me, but it's just a selection that I put in here. Now, I have all sorts of different fibres and all the rest of it, but I'm going to choose just a cotton one, I think. It's just a sock weight thread, quite springy, nice colours. Okay, so to make sure that you have enough string to do your binding with, you measure at least 3 times the length of the book. Okay. And this is the part that everybody seems to be scared of for some reason, and it's extremely simple. Now at this point you can decide whether you want the tails of your string to be on the inside of the book or on the outside of the book. I am going to leave them on the top hole outside because I'm going to put some sort of a charm or a dangle on them, and they are the perfect vehicle to do so. If they're going to be there anyway, you might as well. So I'm going to bring it up through the top hole, and you can see the tail left hanging out. Okay, so I'm going to leave it quite long, not very long, but you know, a nice length. So you're going to go down through the middle, pull it out the back, so, and hold on to this piece here where it goes into the hole, and pull that tight. And you're coming back up through the bottom hole and Again, you may have trouble finding your page holes. That one went pretty okay. So it's coming back up through the bottom hole. Sorry for all the stuff falling. And again, hold on to your tail end up here where it goes into the hole and pull that tight. Okay. Now, so your thread is coming up on the inside, so you're going back down through the middle hole again. So you have 2 lines here. You have a line here, and then you tie this together to make another line. Simple as that. Keep them pretty tight as you're tying them. I'm going to tie this as close to the knot as I can for my dangles. I'm just going to do a normal knot, there's nothing special about it. There we go. I'm going to knot it a couple more times just to give a little bit of stability in there. And I'm going to leave them as is because I don't know what kind of dangles I want to put on them. Just give myself options. But you can trim them as short or as long as you like. Okay, so voila, a book. Now it's a little bit poppy open at the moment, but as it gets used that will flex out and it will be easier. So there you have another simple journal with all different kinds of sizes of pages and things like that you can do awesome fun things with. It's a fold out one. So again, you can do whatever you want. You can paint it, you can stick pictures in it, you can make pockets in it, whatever. Anything goes. The only limit is your imagination. So guys, I hope you enjoyed these videos. I'm not going to decorate this video, sorry, my apologies. I'm not going to decorate the front of this yet. I'll come back to it at some point and do it. I really just wanted to give you the basic idea of making a book. Now see the way this was sewn in? If you have a box like this with a wide piece here that you can use as a spine, then you can actually put in 3 signatures of paper or 4 or 5 signatures of paper and just do them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 all along, and they'll all sit nicely together in the book. Okay, and you're making a genuine book. So that's it. Simple, easy enough to do with the kids, I think. This one in particular is very easy, and it's something that I think they'd really enjoy, you know. That they get to make their own kind of magazine as such. And yeah, so if you liked the video, give it a thumbs up, please do, and subscribe if you want to see more. I would love to have you. And if you want to see me working in either of these books, see what way I decorate them or whatever, leave a comment below the video and let me know which one you'd like to see me working on, and we'll do that in a future video. So cheers guys, bye.